What if the loose, dirty quarter hiding in your pocket right now is secretly worth thousands or even a life-changing fortune? Most people ignore these worn, forgotten coins, but collectors know a shocking truth. Some rare quarter dollars, even in terrible condition, can be worth far more than their face value. Hidden minting errors and mysterious variations have turned ordinary-looking quarters into unbelievable treasures. And the craziest part? Many of these valuable coins are still in circulation today. In this video, we're uncovering the most exciting, rare, and valuable old quarter dollars that could make you rich overnight. What if I told you that a dirty, worn 1977 quarter, the kind most people ignore or toss into a jar, could secretly be worth thousands of dollars, maybe even more? It sounds unbelievable, but collectors have already discovered coins like this and turned them into big money. And today, I'm going to show you exactly how to spot one before you accidentally spend a hidden treasure. Because the 1977 quarter has a quiet, mysterious history. By 1977, the U.S. Mint was running at full speed. Billions of coins were being produced to keep up with demand. Machines were working non-stop, dies were wearing out faster than expected, and under all that pressure, mistakes started slipping through. Not just small mistakes, but rare, valuable errors that were never meant to leave the mint. For years, these coins circulated unnoticed. People spent them without a second glance. But then, collectors started finding strange details, tiny differences that turned ordinary coins into life-changing value. And here's the shocking part. Some of those coins are still out there. Right now, maybe even in your pocket. So let's break it down, step by step. First, check the date, 1977. That's your starting point. Then look near Washington's ponytail. If there's no mint mark, that means it was struck in Philadelphia. If you see a D, it came from Denver. Both versions matter. Now here's where things get exciting. Look closely at the lettering. Focus on Liberty and In God We Trust. Do you notice anything unusual? Maybe the letters look doubled, like there's a shadow or a slight overlap. That could be a double die error. And coins like that can sell $4, $100, $300, even $1,000 or more, depending on how strong the doubling is. But don't stop there, because this next detail could mean even bigger money. Check the alignment of the coin's design. Some 1977 quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. If the date is still visible and the error is dramatic, collectors will pay serious prices. We're talking $500, $1, $500, even $3,000 plus 4 strong off-center examples. Now imagine finding that in your loose change. But here's something even more shocking. Look at the edge of your coin. A normal 1977 quarter has a copper stripe along the edge. But if your coin appears completely silver, no copper line at all, you might be holding a rare mint error known as a wrong planchet strike. That means the coin was struck on the wrong type of metal blank. And coins like that, they've sold for $5,000, $10,000, sometimes even higher depending on the rarity. That's not just rare, that's life-changing value. Now let's go deeper, because most people miss this completely. Some 1977 quarters have clipped planchet errors, a curved section missing from the coin due to a cutting mistake during production. To most people, it looks like damage. But to collectors, it's a hidden treasure. Depending on the size and shape, these coins can sell $4, $100 to $1,000 plus. And yes, people have found these in everyday circulation. But we're not done yet. Here's another detail that could turn your coin into big money. Die cracks and cut errors. These show up as raised lines or blobs on the coin, caused by damaged dies at the mint. They might look like flaws, but they're actually valuable mint errors. Some of these coins have sold $4.50, $200, even $500 or more, depending on how visible and dramatic the error is. Now let me ask you something. Do you have a coin jar sitting somewhere in your house right now? Because that's exactly where collectors have found coins worth life-changing value. And here's where things get even more serious. Condition. Most 1977 quarters are heavily worn. But if you find one that looks almost brand new, sharp details, strong shine, minimal scratches, you could be looking at a high-grade coin. And in the collector world, condition is everything. Top-grade 1977 quarters have sold for over $1,000 at auction, simply because they are so rare in near-perfect condition. Let that sink in. A coin most people ignore could be worth $1,000, just because it's in better shape. Now here's the reality most people don't realize. Millions of quarters are handled every single day, spent without a second thought, dropped into jars, forgotten. But a small group of collectors? They look closer. They check the date, the mint mark, the edge, the details. And because of that, they find hidden treasure. Now it's your turn. Right now, You could have a 1977 quarter that's not just spare change, but a piece of big money waiting to be discovered. So here's what you need to do. Check every 1977 quarter you find. Look for doubling in the letters. Examine the alignment for off-center strikes. Inspect the edge for that missing copper stripe. Watch for clipped shapes, cracks, and anything unusual, because every one of those clues could lead to life-changing value. And here's the final shock. There are still rare 1977 quarters out there, undiscovered, unrecognized, and quietly moving through circulation even today. Which means the next coin you pick up could be the one. So don't ignore your change. Check it, because your next quarter could turn into big money, a hidden treasure, a life-changing value. And if you want to uncover even more coins with unbelievable secrets, coins that collectors are paying tens of thousands for, make sure you subscribe right now, because the next coin you overlook might be the one that changes everything. What if I told you that a dirty, scratched 1974 quarter sitting in your pocket right now could be worth thousands of dollars, or even more? Most people would spend it without a second thought, but a few collectors have already turned coins like this into big money. And today, you're about to discover how to spot a hidden treasure that could completely change your life. Because the 1974 quarter has a story that almost nobody talks about. In the early 1970s, the U.S. Mint was under pressure, massive demand, nonstop production, and machines running at full speed. Coins were being struck so quickly that quality control couldn't catch everything. And in that chaos, something incredible happened. Mistakes slipped through. Tiny, rare, nearly invisible mint errors quietly entered circulation. No one noticed at the time. These coins were spent, saved, forgotten, sitting in jars and drawers for decades, until collectors started finding them. And what they discovered was shocking. Some 1974 quarters weren't just coins, they were life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now let me ask you something. When you see a dirty old quarter, do you ignore it? Or do you check it? Because that one decision could mean the difference between 25 cents and big money. Let's start with the basics. First, check the date, 1974. Then look near Washington's ponytail for the mint mark. You might see a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or no mint mark at all if it was struck in Philadelphia. Every version matters. Now here's where things start to get exciting. Look closely at the lettering, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. Do you see any signs of doubling? Maybe the letters look thick, slightly blurred, or like they're overlapping. That could be a double die error. And coins with noticeable doubling? They can sell for $150, $400, even over $1,000, depending on how strong the effect is. But don't stop there, because this next detail could be even more valuable. Check the alignment of the design. Some 1974 quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design is shifted and part of the coin is blank. If the date is still visible and the error is dramatic, collectors will pay serious money. We're talking $300, $800, even $2,500 or more for strong off-center examples. Now imagine pulling that out of your change jar. But here's where things get truly shocking. Look at the edge of your coin. A normal 1974 quarter has a copper stripe along the edge. But if your coin looks completely silver, no copper line at all, you might be holding one of the rarest types of mint errors. A wrong planchet error. That means the coin was struck on the wrong metal blank. Sometimes even one intended for another denomination. And coins like that, they've sold for $5,000, $10,000, even higher at major auctions. That's not just rare, that's life-changing value sitting in your hand. Now here's another twist most people miss. Some 1974 quarters have clipped planchets, a curved section missing from the coin due to a cutting error at the mint. These coins look damaged, but they're actually highly collectible. Depending on the size and shape of the clip, they can sell for $100 to $1,000 plus. And yes, people have found these in everyday circulation. But we're not done yet. Here's something that might be sitting right in front of you without you realizing it. Die cracks and cut errors. These appear as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, caused by damaged dies during production. To most people, they look like flaws, but to collectors, they're signals of hidden treasure. Coins with strong die cracks can sell for $50, $200, even $500 or more, depending on how dramatic they are. Now let's talk about something even more powerful than errors. Condition. Most 1974 quarters are worn down from decades of use. But every now and then, a nearly perfect coin shows up. Sharp details, strong luster, almost no scratches. These are graded by professionals, and if a coin reaches a high grade like MS66 or MS67, its value can explode. In fact, high-grade 1974 quarters have sold for over $1,000 at auction, simply because they are so rare in that condition. So even if your coin doesn't have an obvious error, don't ignore it. It might still hold big money potential. Now let me hit you with a reality check. Millions of people handle coins every single day. They spin them, drop them in jars, forget about them completely. But a small number of collectors? They look closer. They check the date, the mint mark, the edge, the details. And because of that, they find coins worth life-changing value. Now it's your turn. Right now, somewhere in your home, there could be a 1974 quarter that's not just spare change, but a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. So here's what you need to do. Check every 1974 quarter you find. Look for doubling in the letters. Inspect the design for off-center strikes. Examine the edge for that missing copper stripe. Watch for clipped shapes, cracks, and anything unusual. Because every one of those signs could lead to big money. And here's the final shock. There are still rare 1974 quarters out there, undiscovered, unrecognized, and quietly moving through circulation right now. Which means the next coin you pick up could be the one. So don't spend it blindly. Check it. Because your next quarter could turn into life-changing value overnight. And if you want to uncover even more coins hiding unbelievable secrets, coins that collectors are paying tens of thousands for, make sure you subscribe right now. Because the next coin you ignore might be the one that changes everything. What if I told you that a dirty, worn 1972 quarter, the kind most people wouldn't even pick up off the ground, could secretly be worth thousands of dollars, or even more asterisk. It sounds crazy, but collectors have already found these coins and turned them into big money. And today, you're about to learn exactly how to spot one before it's too late. Because the 1972 quarter has a story that most people never hear. In 1972, the U.S. Mint was pushing out millions of quarters to keep up with demand. Coins were being produced fast, really fast. And when production speeds increase, something else increases too: mistakes. Tiny, almost invisible mistakes that slip through unnoticed. And those mistakes? They're where hidden treasure is born. For years, these coins circulated quietly, passed from hand to hand, spent on coffee, gas, groceries, completely ignored. Until sharp-eyed collectors started noticing something strange. Some 1972 quarters weren't normal at all. And the moment those discoveries hit the collector world, everything changed. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a quarter? Because right now, you could be holding a coin worth far more than 25 cents. Here's exactly what to check. First, the date, 1972. That's your starting point. Then look near Washington's ponytail. You might see a mint mark, or you might not. 1972 quarters were struck in multiple locations, including Philadelphia, which often had no mint mark at all. And yes, even coins without a mint mark can carry life-changing value. Now here's where things get exciting. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Do you notice any doubling? Maybe the letters look thick, shadowed, or slightly shifted. That could be a double die error, one of the most famous and valuable types of mint mistakes. Coins with clear doubling can sell for $200, $500, even over $1, $500 depending on condition and strength of the error. And yes, people have found these in circulation. But don't stop there, because this next detail is where things get really serious. Look at the rim and the design alignment. Some 1972 quarters were struck off-center, meaning the design is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. If the date is still visible and the error is dramatic, collectors go crazy for these. We're talking $300, $800, even $2,000 or more for strong off-center examples. Now imagine finding that in your change. But here's something even more shocking. Check the edge of your coin. A normal 1972 quarter has a visible copper stripe along the edge. But if your coin looks completely silver, no copper line at all, you might be holding a coin struck on the wrong metal. That's right, a wrong planchet error. This happens when a blank mint for a different coin, sometimes even a silver one, is accidentally used. And coins like that, they don't just sell, they create headlines. Some have sold for $5,000, $10,000, even more, depending on the rarity and condition. That's not just rare, that's life-changing value hiding in plain sight. Now let's take this even further. There are 1972 quarters with clipped planchet errors, where a piece of the coin is missing, like a curved bite taken out of it. This happened during the cutting process at the mint, and instead of being destroyed, a few slipped into circulation. Collectors love these. Depending on the size and shape of the clip, these coins can sell for $100 to $1,000 plus. And here's another twist most people miss. Look for die cracks and cut errors, raised lines or blobs of metal caused by damaged dies. These might look like damage, but they're actually mint-made errors. And yes, they can mean big money. Some of these coins have sold for $1.50, $200, even $500 plus, just because of those unusual features. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you even more. Condition. Most 1972 quarters are heavily worn. But if you happen to find one that looks almost untouched, sharp details, strong shine, no major scratches, you could be looking at a high-grade coin. And in the world of coin collecting, condition is everything. Top-grade 1972 quarters have sold for over $1,000 at auction, simply because they are so rare in near-perfect condition. Let that sink in. A coin most people ignore could be worth $1,000, just because it survived in better shape than the rest. Now here's the part that should really make you stop and think. Millions of people handle coins every day without ever checking them. They spend them without a second thought. But a small group of collectors? They look closely, they search, and they find coins with hidden treasure and life-changing value. And now, you're one of them. So before you spend another quarter, do this. Check the date, 1972. Look for the mint mark, or the absence of one. Examine the letters for doubling. Inspect the rim and alignment. Look at the edge for that missing copper stripe. Watch for clips, cracks, and anything unusual, because every one of those details could turn your coin into big money. And here's the final shock. There are still rare 1972 quarters out there, undiscovered, unnoticed, and waiting to be found. Some are sitting in jars right now. Others are still being passed around in everyday transactions, which means the next coin you touch could be the one. So don't ignore your change. Start checking today. And if you want to uncover even more coins with hidden treasure and life-changing value, make sure you subscribe right now, because the next coin you overlook might be the one that changes everything. What if I told you that a dirty, worn-out 1971 D quarter, yes, the kind most people ignore, could be hiding big money worth thousands of dollars, maybe even more? Sounds unbelievable, but collectors have already found them. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what to look for before you accidentally spend a hidden treasure. Because the 1971 D quarter has a story that most people never hear. Back in 1971, the Denver Mint was producing millions of quarters at high speed. Demand was huge, pressure was intense, and mistakes, well, mistakes were inevitable. But here's the mystery. Some of those mistakes slipped through unnoticed, quietly entering circulation. No announcements, no recalls, just ordinary-looking coins, carrying life-changing value. And decades later, collectors started discovering something shocking. Certain 1971 D quarters weren't normal at all. They had rare minting errors, unusual metal compositions, and tiny details that could turn 25 cents into big money overnight. So right now, I want you to imagine this. You're holding a 1971 quarter. It's old, maybe dirty, maybe scratched. But what if that exact coin is worth hundreds or thousands? Let's break it down. First, check the date, 1971. Then look just to the right of Washington's ponytail. You're looking for the small D mint mark. That confirms it was struck in Denver. Without that D, it's a different category. But with it, you're in the zone where some very interesting things have been found. Now here's where things start to get exciting. One of the most talked about features in rare quarters is doubling. Look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. Do the letters look slightly doubled? Like a shadow or a blur? That could be a double die error. And coins like that, they can sell for $100, $300, even over $1,000, depending on how strong and visible the doubling is. But wait, it gets better. There are 1971 D quarters with off-center strikes. That means the coin design is shifted, leaving part of the coin blank. The more dramatic the shift, the more collectors want it. Some of these have sold for $500 to $2,000 plus, especially when the date is still visible. Just imagine finding that in your spare change. Now here's something most people never think to check. Look at the color of your coin's edge. A normal quarter from 1971 has a copper stripe along the edge. But if you find one that looks completely silver, no copper line at all, you might be holding a coin struck on the wrong planchet. That's right, a mint error where the coin was made using the wrong metal blank. And coins like that are extremely rare. Collectors have paid thousands, even over $10,000 for quarters struck on the wrong metal. That's not just rare, that's life-changing value sitting in your hand. Now let me hit you with another shocking detail. Some 1971 D quarters have what's called a clipped planchet error. This means a piece of the coin is missing, like a curved bite taken out of it. It happened during the cutting process at the mint, and instead of being destroyed, some of these coins escaped into circulation. Depending on how large and clean the clip is, these coins can sell for $150, $500, even $1,000 or more. And yes, people have found these in everyday pocket change. But we're not done yet. Not even close. Here's where things get really serious for collectors chasing big money. Condition. Most 1971 D quarters are worn, scratched, and heavily circulated. But every now and then, a nearly perfect example shows up. Sharp details, strong luster, almost nowhere. These are graded by professionals, and if a coin reaches a high grade like MS66 or MS67, its value can skyrocket. In fact, top condition 1971 D quarters have sold for over $1,000 at auction, simply because they are so rare in that level of preservation. So don't just look for errors, look for quality. Now let me ask you something. Do you have a jar of old coins sitting somewhere in your house right now? Because that's exactly where many collectors have found their hidden treasure. And here's another twist. Some collectors have reported 1971 D quarters with die cracks and cut errors, raised lines or blobs of metal caused by damaged dies. These might look like flaws to most people, but to collectors, they're gold. Coins with visible die cracks can sell $4.50 to $300 plus, and larger cut errors can bring even more. So that strange line or bump on your coin, it might not be damage, it might be big money. And here's the part that should really make you stop and think. Millions of people handle coins every single day without ever checking them. They spend them, drop them in jars, ignore them completely. Meanwhile, a small number of collectors are quietly searching and finding coins worth life-changing value. The difference? Knowledge. Now you have it. So before you spend another quarter, take a closer look. Check the date. Look for that D mint mark. Study the letters for doubling. Examine the edge for that missing copper stripe. Watch for off-center designs, clipped edges, cracks, and unusual textures. Because every one of those details could turn an ordinary coin into big money, a hidden treasure, a life-changing value. And here's the final shock. There are still rare 1971 D quarters out there, undiscovered, unrecognized, and waiting to be found. Some are sitting in collections that haven't been touched in decades. Others are still moving through circulation right now, which means your next coin could be the one. So don't wait. Start checking your coins today. And if you want to uncover even rarer coins, coins worth tens of thousands, with secrets almost nobody knows, make sure you subscribe right now. Because the next quarter you ignore might be the one that changes your life forever. What if I told you that a dirty, forgotten 1970 D quarter sitting in your pocket right now could be worth thousands, even tens of thousands of dollars? Sounds impossible, right? But collectors have already pulled coins like this from circulation and turned them into big money overnight. And today, I'm about to show you exactly how. Because this isn't just any coin. The 1970 D quarter has a mysterious backstory that still shocks collectors to this day. Back in 1970, at the Denver Mint, something unusual happened. While millions of regular quarters were being struck, a small number were accidentally created using the wrong metal, the wrong dies, or with hidden minting errors that were never meant to leave the facility. Most people spent them without a second thought, but a few sharp-eyed collectors discovered something incredible. These coins weren't ordinary at all. And here's where things get serious. One rare 1970 quarter, yes, from around the same era, was discovered to be struck over a completely different coin. That kind of mint mistake can turn a 25-cent piece into a life-changing value. We're talking thousands, even over $10,000 depending on condition and rarity. Now before you dismiss this, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your coins? Because the 1970 D quarter you might have is hiding secrets most people miss. First, check the date. You're looking for 1970. Then look for the small D mint mark, which means it was struck in Denver. But that's just the beginning. Here's where things get exciting. Some 1970 D quarters were struck with die errors. That means the metal stamp used to create the coin had flaws, and those flaws transferred onto the coin itself. Look closely at the letters, especially Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see doubling, like a shadow or overlap, that could be a double die error. And guess what? Coins with strong doubling can sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars, depending on how clear the error is. But wait, it gets even better. Another shocking discovery collectors have made involves off-center strikes. That's when the coin design is not properly aligned, leaving part of the coin blank. These errors are extremely collectible. A 1970 D quarter with a dramatic off-center strike could easily bring in $300 to $1,500 or more. Now imagine finding that in your loose change. But we're not done yet. Here's a detail most people completely ignore, and it could mean big money. Look at the edge of the coin. A normal quarter has a copper-colored stripe sandwiched between silver layers. But if you find a 1970 D quarter that looks fully silver with no copper edge, you might be holding something extraordinary. Why? because that could indicate the coin was struck on the wrong planchet, possibly even on a silver blank mint for another coin. And coins like that, they don't just sell, they explode at auction. Some wrong planchet quarters have sold for over $5,000, $10,000, even more, depending on rarity and condition. Let that sink in. A single mistake at the mint could turn your everyday coin into a hidden treasure worth more than a car. Now here's another twist in the story. Collectors have reported 1970 D quarters with clipped planchets. That's when part of the coin is literally missing due to a cutting error during production. These coins have a distinctive curved bite taken out of them. And yes, they're highly valuable. Depending on how dramatic the clip is, these can sell anywhere from $100 to $1,000 plus. And just when you think you've seen it all, there are also high-grade 1970 D quarters, coins that look almost brand new, with sharp details and no wear. These are graded by professional services, and if a coin receives a top-tier grade like MS67 or higher, its value can skyrocket. In fact, pristine examples have sold for thousands of dollars at auction, simply because they are so rare in perfect condition. So even if your coin doesn't have an obvious error, don't lose hope. It might still hold life-changing value if it's in exceptional shape. Now let me ask you something again. Are your coins scratched, dirty, and worn? Or do you have one that looks just a little too perfect? Because sometimes, the difference between a regular coin and a big money coin is just one tiny detail. And here's the most shocking part. Many of these valuable coins are still out there, sitting in jars, hidden in drawers, passed down in collections that haven't been checked in years. People spend them every day without ever realizing what they had. That's why this matters. Right now, you could be holding a 1970 D quarter that's worth far more than 25 cents. You just need to know what to look for: date, mint mark, doubling, off-center strikes, silver edges, clipped shapes, and overall condition. Each one of those clues could lead you to hidden treasure. And once you find one, everything changes. So before you click away, do this one simple thing. Check your pockets. Check your change jar. Check that old coin collection you haven't touched in years. Because your next coin could be the one that turns into big money, a hidden treasure, a life-changing value. And here's the cliffhanger. There are even rarer quarters out there. Mistakes so extreme that collectors are willing to pay tens of thousands of dollars, and almost nobody knows how to spot them. If you want to discover those next, make sure you subscribe right now. Because the next coin you ignore could be the one that changes everything.